there folks, Tim Slade here from the eLearning Designers Academy. Fun fact, did you know that according to our State of the L&D Industry report, you can check that out with the link down in the description, did you know that how-to videos are the third most commonly used form of e-learning that teams use to design and deliver training, right? Who'd have thought? Well, it's true. And you know what? Creating screen recordings, gosh, it's easier than ever nowadays. I mean, if you're like me, all it really takes is firing up Camtasia, clicking to create a new recording, clicking and dragging to select your record region, and then hitting that big red record button. It counts down from 3, 2, 1, and you're off to the races. You click around, you demo how to do whatever the heck it is you're demoing how to do, and when you're done, and before you know it, you have created a screen recording in Camtasia. It really, truly is that easy. But here's the thing. Creating an effective screen recording, one that actually helps your audience or learners understand and follow along with the thing that you're trying to teach them, well, gosh, that is so much more than just recording your screen and moving your mouse around, right? All of the magic happens on the back end during post-production. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use my absolute favorite Camtasia features that I use quite literally every single day to edit my screen recordings and how-to videos and tutorials, to take my videos from dull to delightful, and more importantly, from random clicking to instructionally sound. Now, before we do that, I want to send a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video and the sponsor of our December 2025 e-learning challenge, TechSmith, the creators of Camtasia and Snagit and a bunch of other amazing tools. If you want to put your skills into practice and build a new sample of work for your portfolio that isn't just another, run-of-the-mill e-learning course, and enter to win a $100 Amazon gift card plus a free year of Camtasia Pro, a $600 value, then sign up for a free trial and join the challenge with the links down in the description. Otherwise, let's dive right into it. All right, so here I am in Camtasia where I just finished up recording a how-to video on how to log in and navigate a completely hypothetical system that I created for a completely hypothetical company. Fun fact, I actually vibe coded everything you're seeing here with the Webistia. I completely vibe coded this in a couple of hours. So check out the link down in the description if you want to learn a little bit more about vibe coding, which is super cool. It's nothing to do with this video. I just thought I should mention it nonetheless. So we created this how-to video. And what I want to do is I want to take you through everything that I would do in the real world to edit this video. What would I do from a post-production standpoint? What effects would I add? How would I enhance this? How would I edit out all of the mistakes to make it truly a professional, learner-ready how-to video, right? And so we're going to go through that step by step. Quick disclaimer, what we're not going to do is I'm not going to go through the basics of how to use Camtasia. I assume that you already know how to do some of that stuff. If not, no worries. The folks at TechSmith offer some amazing resources, so you can check those out down with the links down in the description. But I'm going to assume you have some basic know-how with Camtasia, right? So I think the best thing we should do is we should start by watching just the raw output of what I recorded, right? I want you to see truly what I recorded before we edit a single thing. That way you can see the contrast between what we started with and what we end up with, right? Now, this is going to take about 3 minutes because the recording is about 3 minutes in length, but you're going to see the awkward pauses, the mistakes, all of that sort of stuff, and then you'll get to see how I'm editing it all out. So feel free to use the timestamps down below, use the seek bar, do whatever you want to do. If you want to skip that, if you want to stick with me, let's watch the video, all right? So I'll hit play here. Let's preview it. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log into and navigate the Webistia CRM dashboard, how to view a customer profile, and how to add a new customer. To begin, visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the resources sales support. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database and add new customers, access and create reports, and view the resources supports. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the Resources Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer database. To do that, I'll click the Customers tab here on the sidebar. From here, you can see a complete list of all of your customers, or you can search and filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the View option. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the New Customer option here on the sidebar. From here, you can enter the customer's name, email, phone number, and other information. And as you enter in the information, you can use the Tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. Once you're done, click the Save Customer button at the bottom of the screen, and the new customer will be added to the database. So that's an overview of the WebSDS CRM. Once you're done, click the Logout button to end your session. All right, so, that was a pretty okay, 3.5 minute long video. There were awkward pauses. As I'm sure you witnessed, I had a couple of mistakes over here where I had to start over a couple of times. That's totally normal when you're creating a screen recording. There's a lot of different ways people go about creating screen recordings. I am somebody who really struggles with trying to record and click at the same time, unless I'm doing something like this, like a totally, very casual demo. But if it's like a formal thing, it's hard to read a script and record and make sure your mouse movements are all in sync and everything at the same time, right? So I was reading, then moving my mouse, and then reading, and then moving my mouse. Some people record their screens and their audio separately and sync that up manually in the editor, and that's, I'll save that for a separate video for a separate day, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through everything I would actually do to edit this video together to make it, ready to publish and share with our learners. Now, when I do a screen recording, there's a couple of things that I always like to do right off the bat before I start splicing up, the clips and editing things together or adding any sort of, annotations or anything like that. I always like to enhance the cursor and enhance my audio, because those are the two most important things from an instructional standpoint from what the learner is viewing and hearing. They need to be able to hear what it is that I'm saying, and then they need to be able to see what it is that I'm clicking on, right? And it's best to do that before you edit anything else, in my opinion, right? So I'm going to click on the clip down here in the timeline. That's the whole thing. Like I said, I did it in one recording. And let's start by enhancing the audio. Now, I happen to be using a really nice, expensive microphone, so I don't always have to do this. But if you're using, your earbuds or you're using your built-in microphone, I promise these tips might be pretty helpful for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the audio tab up here in our properties window. And this is where we can adjust, things like the gain, the volume, stuff like that. You can actually edit the video and audio in Audiate, which allows you to edit with text. It transcribes the video and then you can edit with text. I'm not going to do that today. Super, super cool feature. It uses AI to do that. What we're going to do is we're just going to apply some different effects, right? So over here on the left-hand side, we have all of the different effects that we can add, animations, transitions. We're going to come to all of that here a little bit later, but we're going to go to audio effects here. And there's a lot of different audio effects that we can choose to use. The two that I use most commonly are the AI noise removal and the audio compression, right? So the AI noise removal in Camtasia is absolutely amazing. You could have a whole orchestra playing behind you and you apply this and it's going to isolate your voice. It does a really great job of that. So I have my fan going. I probably had my stomach rumbling during the recording. I don't know. I don't want you to hear any of that. I don't want my audience to hear any of that. So I'm just going to click and drag this to my clip, and it's gone ahead and added it. And I can always click on this little button here and you can see the AI noise removal here, but you'll also see it up here in the audio tab. You'll see the AI noise removal. Now, I usually don't adjust any of the settings here. You can adjust the amount and preview it and listen to it, but usually just dragging it to that clip does a great job, right? And the reason I do this now is because if I were to splice up and chop up this clip, I'd have to apply that to each of those clips. So I like doing it all at once. I sometimes also use the audio compression. This just enhances the audio slightly, but in this case, I don't need to do that. So it's gone ahead and removed the background noise. You probably won't be able to notice it on your end, but let me play a little bit here. RM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales. Yeah. It probably got rid of a little bit of the background noise or the humming. Again, like I said, I'm using a pretty good microphone, so I rarely have to do that. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the cursor effects. There's a lot of different things with the cursor that we can apply to enhance the cursor and the way the learner sees it. All right, now before we do any of the effects, the first thing I want to focus on are our properties over here. So if you click on the cursor tab, this is where we can do different things. Like we can change the opacity of the cursor. We can make it transparent. I don't need to do that. We can also adjust the size and we can do a bunch of other really great things. So by default, when you record in Camtasia automatically increases the cursor size so that it's easier for your audience to see. It increases it to 225%. Now, if I were to put it back at 100%, you would see how small and tiny that is, right? So I'm going to make it a little bit larger. It's 225. I might bring it up. Let's do 350. We want it to be really easy for our learner to be able to see that, right? So that's pretty good. We also have options here where we could change the cursor. That's a separate thing that we might get into a little bit later as we're editing our video. And then you also have the option for elevation. This allows you to control how the cursor sits on top of other items. Now, right now, we don't have any other items on top of our video here, like annotations or boxes. We'll come back to that a little bit later as we add different items to our timeline. So we've made the cursor a little bit larger here, so you can see how much bigger that is. And we'll see if the cursor moves. No, that's not a good place where the cursor moves. No, that's not a good place to see where the cursor moves either. Let's go over here. There we go. Much bigger cursor, right? It's easier to see. All right, and then the final thing we're going to look at over here, one of the first things that I do are the cursor effects over here. The cursor effects allow us to add different effects to the cursor to enhance the way it looks. Again, make it easier to see for the user. We can change the color. We can add a glow. You can add a highlight. You can magnify the cursor. You can add a motion blur. You can actually create and edit the cursor path completely, add shadows. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do. Okay, be judicious. We don't need to change the color, add a glow, do a highlight, and magnify. You don't need to do all of that. Like a couple of nice effects can enhance the look and feel of it. So we're going to focus on really two, cursor smoothing and the kinetic cursor. These are my two favorite features. The cursor smoothing is really nice because what it does is it just smooths out the paths of the cursor. We can still override and edit all of this a little bit later, but it just makes the cursor movements smoother than what was recorded. I did a pretty good job keeping them smooth, but on a normal everyday basis, when I'm not doing something like this, I'm very animated with my cursor. You know how people talk with their hands like I am right now? Sometimes people talk with their cursors. If you ever notice, they'll be like, we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag cursor smoothing here. And that's going to smooth out the cursor, right? And it's just going to make the movements a little bit smoother than they would have been otherwise. We're going to come back and edit some more of that here a little bit later. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add the kinetic cursor. And what I love about the kinetic cursor is it just adds a little bit of extra animation to the cursor that just makes it snappier and funner and cooler to look at, right? And I'll show you this here in a moment. So I'll go ahead and click and drag the Kinetic cursor to my clip as well. And all of these settings now can be controlled over here in the sidebar. So again, if I click on the cursor tab here, make sure you have your clips selected and then click the cursor tab. Obviously, this is where we adjusted the scale, and then you can see the cursor smoothing here and the Kinetic cursor. Again, with these settings, you really don't need to do anything with them. They're pretty good as is. The cursor smoothing, the duration, the delay, the easing, I don't touch any of that. You know what I mean? I just leave that as is. And then the Kinetic cursor, gosh, the best way to describe it, let me find a place where you can kind of see it here. Let me zoom in. Okay. I'm going to zoom in really close on this cursor and watch as it moves. Hopefully we'll be able to see it here. Yeah, that's hard to see. What it does is you'll see how the cursor just slightly tilts as it's moving. And then let's see where it goes to. There we go. Here's a good example. See how the cursor's like tilted a little bit more than it would have been otherwise, and then it like swings. You see how it's swinging? It's just a very nice little effect. It just makes it look really nice. I'm gonna really make it exaggerated so you can see it even more. So the default intensity is 1.50, whatever that number means, and 2.50 for the tilt. Let's make the intensity like 3. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's just like woo, woo, woo. I just like that, right? I'm going to set it back at 1.50. And then the tilting, again, I think that would, that just makes it tilt way more than it already did. Yeah, we'll just set that back to 2.50. All right, so those are the basic effects that I like to apply to my screen recordings before I start editing anything else. Enhancing the audio, smoothing out the cursor, and then maybe adding a cursor effect like a kinetic cursor, and then of course increasing the cursor size. Now we're going to get into all of the actual editing of the video to make it, better than what it would have been by itself. Now this is where we're going to get into actually cutting out all of the dead space, cutting out the mistakes, all of that sort of stuff. Whenever I'm editing something like this, I try to do all of my global edits first, which is edits that apply to everything, like the kinetic cursor, the audio. Then I'm going to actually edit the video itself. I'm going to edit out all the mistakes. Then once I have that cut, I'd call that like a rough cut, then I go back and I add enhancements, annotations, highlights, title screens, that sort of stuff, right? So this is where the minutia of the work happens, right? This is where the detailed work actually happens. So we're going to go through and I'm going to edit this thing together. So I'm going to zoom in here on my timeline so I can see it. And we're just going to watch the video and edit it. So I'll go ahead and click play here. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log into and navigate the Webistia CRM dashboard, how to view a customer profile, and how to add a new customer. To begin, visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. Okay, so it's typing in here. Now, do we want to do anything with that? Should I cut that out? No, because we do want to see the typing. But later on, when we fill out that form to enter a new customer, that takes a while, right? So that might be one area where we want to adjust the clip speed to make it look a little faster. We're not going to do anything here. That pause, I think, is appropriate, even though there's nothing happening in the audio. This is an appropriate pause as we're watching how to log in, right? So I'm going to leave that dead space there. Let's continue playing. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the resources sales support. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database and add new customers, access and create reports, and view the resources supports. Once you log in, okay, I'm going to pause it right there. I just used the space bar on my keyboard to pause the timeline there. So That's a perfect example where, from here all the way over here, that's not usable. I was making a mistake, right? So we're going to cut that out. So here we log in, we type, just dragging the playhead here. And then this is where we start saying, once you log in, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to splice, trim, cut in half. I always forget the term. What is it? It's going to show me split. That's easy. That's the term, right? I'm going to click on my clip here. I'm going to use this button here to split the clip. It's going to cut it in half, right? And then I'm going to come down here. Let's play this, see if that's the right part. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard from customer database. To do that, I'll click the customers tab here on the sidebar. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so this is the part where I finally got it right. So I'll put my playhead here and I'll split that as well. And now this part, I can just delete it, right? There's a lot of different ways that we could do that. A lot of times people use the green and red playheads there, and they'll select a part and splice it that way. Everyone has a different preference there. So I like to just do it that way, delete it, and now I'll bring this clip all the way back over here. So let's play that here from where I'm typing in how to log in. Once you log in, this will bring you to... Okay, before I continue, there was a little dead space here, right? So you see here, we click sign in, mouse goes over here, and now we're kind of just sitting there for a hot second. So I'm going to edit a little bit of that out here. There's some dead space, just so it makes it smoother. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can... I'll pause this real quickly. Now, you might have noticed as I was explaining all of these different things that you can see here in the WebAStia CRM dashboard, the stuff across the top or the sidebar, you'll notice I didn't use my mouse cursor to point to those sorts of things. This is a technique that I oftentimes use when I am creating screen recordings like this. Again, I don't want to use my mouse cursor as if I'm explaining with my hands. I want to use the mouse cursor for action, right? And so later on, we're going to add annotations, highlights, and stuff to highlight a lot of what I'm talking about there. So we'll just go ahead and hit play here. See your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the Resources Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer database. To do that, I'll click the Customers tab here on the sidebar. From here, you can see a complete... Let's pause. That's another great area where there was some dead space. So let's find the spot where the dead space is. So I'm going to hit play here. Here on the sidebar. Okay, so from here to here, dead space. So again, I'll split the clip. And this time I'm just going to drag the clip down here. It's going to edit part of that out, and I'll bring this over here. I'll hit play. The Customers tab here on the sidebar. From here, you can see a complete list of all of your customers, or you can search and filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. To view a customer profile, okay, there's some errors there. Wait, let's play and see where I get it right. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the view option. All right, so it took me a couple of tries there. So we got to edit out a little bit here. Let me find that again. It's here. To view. Yeah, there we go. So I'll go ahead and split it here. Split. And then I think I got it right here. To view a. Yes. I'll split this right here. Delete that. Bring this over here. Let's hit play. With the search fields here. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the view option. This will bring you to the, again, a little bit of dead space. So let's see here. Okay. I'll zoom in here a little bit on my timeline. And we're going to cut out this part here. Now editing, I think when it comes to editing video, I'm going to hit save for good measure too. Editing video is always way more tedious than people realize. It's all the fine-tuned stuff that you're doing that makes it really good. So as we're watching this, I know it seems like it takes a lot of time, but this is where, the hard work happens when you're creating video. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the New Customer option here on the sidebar. Again, dead space. Mostly what we're cutting out here, right? Okay, let's just, oops. I'll put it right about there, cut it out. Okay, let's see how that looks. From here, you can enter the customer's name, email, phone number, and other information. And as you enter in the information, you can use the Tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. Okay, so here's the part where you're just watching me type, right? It's not critical that my audience just sees me typing here, right? So one of the other effects that I like to do is I like to use and adjust the clip speed. Can I make this go faster while still watching it, right? So all of this dead space, I'm gonna actually make this happen a little bit faster than what it would be in real time, right? So first off, let's get rid of the dead space here. So I start typing. So I'm gonna clip it here. That's when I start typing here. I go type, John Doe, John_Doe@johndoe.com. There's his phone number, blah, 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 blah. And then this is when I'm done, right? So my mouse cursor goes right there. I'll split it here. Let's zoom in a little bit, and then it continues here. So I'm just going to edit out this part here and bring this up here. Now, for this period in the middle, this dead space where I'm doing all this typing, I don't want the user just sitting there watching me. So one of the other effects that we can use, if we go to our visual effects here, and there's a whole bunch of visual effects. You can change the color tint. You can do different color adjustments. You can do drop shadows. You can do a whole bunch of things here. One of the effects that we're going to use, you can remove the background color of stuff. We're going to use clip speed, which is down here. So I'm going to click and drag this down here, and this allows us to expand or contract the speed. We can speed things up, slow things down. Super handy for instances like this. So I've dragged it to my clip, and it's only being applied to this clip here that's highlighted on my timeline. And if I click and open this little button here, it shows all of the effects that I've applied: the kinetic cursor, cursor smoothing, AI noise removal, and clip speed. This is what's cool. If I come down here and I click onto this end of the clip speed and I start dragging, it's speeding it up, right? Now, how fast do we want to make it? I have no idea. Let's see what looks okay, right? So I'm going to press it down, and let's see what that looks like. I'm going to move this clip all the way over here, and let's play it to easily navigate between entry fields. See how it's going much faster? That's okay. I think we can make it even just a little bit faster there. Right? So I'm going to make it a little bit faster here. I also want to add a little bit of a pause here after it ends, just so it's not so abrupt to the audio after it goes really fast. So let's just watch that. Once you're done, click the Save Customer button at the bottom of the screen, and the new customer will be added to the database. Okay, again, some dead space. Edit that out. I'll click here, split the clip, and I could just click and drag here to clip that part out. Let's play that to the database. So that's an overview of the WebSDS CRM. Once you're done, click the Logout button to end your session. Then we log out. There we go. So we just edited that 3.5-minute video that included mistakes and dead noise and space, right? We can see here that's 2 minutes and 5 seconds, right? So we edited out almost 1.5 minutes just getting rid of mistakes and dead space, right? Pretty cool. So now what we have here, if I zoom out here, we have a rough cut of the video that we have here. Now, this is where we get into some of the additional enhancements that we can add to our screen recording to help direct our learners' attention, that sort of stuff. And this is where we get into highlights and annotations and all of those sorts of things, right? So let's go through and let's start doing that. We're going to go and watch the video again and start adding in some of that stuff, right? So let's see. Let's go back to the beginning and let's hit play here. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log into and navigate the Webistia CRM dashboard, how to view a customer profile, and how to add a new customer. To begin, visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. Okay, so a couple of annotations we might want to put on the screen, right? We mentioned you're going to go to webistia.com, and then we mentioned logging in with the demo credentials. So we have a couple of things that we can add to the screen. Let's start with an annotation, right? So up here in our sidebar, we have the option for annotations. This is where we can add different text annotations, speech bubbles, all sorts of different annotations. There's arrows that we can add to the screen, shapes, blur effects that we'll use a little bit later, and drawn effects as well, which we'll use here. And we also have keyboard keystroke callouts, which I'll show you here as well. So let's start with a text annotation for telling the user to go to webistia.com. So where do we want to say that? How to view a customer profile and how to add a new customer. To begin, visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com. So right here. Navigate to webistia.com, right? So maybe I'll add an on-screen text annotation. I'll just drag that here, and it adds a callout here. Let me hit save too. I realize I haven't saved in a while. And it's going to add it here on the screen. You can't really see it, but I'm going to move it over here. There it is. And just like a text field in any other tool you might use, PowerPoint or something like that, I'll go www.webistia.com. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Maybe we'll change the font a little bit. I like outfits. Maybe we'll make it semi-bold, something like that. And where do we want to put it? Do we want to put it up here? I kind of like that, right? So I'm going to make that fit here, just in this kind of white/blue space. Let's play that here. Visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this right? So now it just appears and disappears, right? That's totally fine. There's a lot of things that we can do to enhance how this text appears on the screen, right? One of the features that I always like to use for animations like this are behaviors. So behaviors are ways that we can add entrance and exit animations and behaviors. They're like during animations. I don't know if that makes any sense. And there's a lot of different entrance and exit animations. We can do a fly in, we can do a fade in, we can do a pop-up, we can do a reveal. There's all sorts of different animations that we can add. Let's try like a simple fade in. I'm just going to click and apply this to this text here. And you'll notice over here, we get a fade in, and it's in, out, and during. So how does it animate in? How does it animate during? How does it animate out? Now, I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm just going to leave it as is so you can see what happens to the Webistia text here. The CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, that was pretty good as is, right? So let's go back and click on it. So for in, it's fading in. There's a whole bunch of other ones you can play with here. There's grow and zoom in and fly in, all sorts of cool styles. It's doing text left to right, which I liked. It's doing linear. It's doing speed, all of that stuff. You can leave that as is. During, it's not doing anything. What could we do with the during? Well, you could make it, I don't know, you can make it pulsate. You can make it wiggle or tremble. Let me show you what that looks like. By navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. We probably wouldn't want to make it tremble in this case because we want our user to be able to see it. So I'm going to turn that off. And then out, it fades out, text left to right. It's pretty clean. So let's play that one more time and see if that's good. CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, I'm going to make it a little bit longer there. So I'm going to click, drag it, expand it. Your username and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. All right, that's good. Now, where we say, for this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. We're going to log in using the demo credentials. That's a great opportunity for us to use another annotation to highlight this. Now, in the annotations tab here, there's a lot of annotations. There's arrows and the callouts and all of that sort of stuff. In this case, I could use an arrow, but Again, I like to use things that are a little bit more exciting and animated that catches, my audience attention. So I'm going to go to these ones here. These are the sketch motion ones. These are where you can draw, a happy face or a sad face or a star or a square. In this case, I'm going to do the square, okay? And I'm going to drag that right here, right where I say, in using the demo credentials. Okay, now you can barely see it here, but it drew a yellow square here. So I'm going to click on this, and it's a square. It's just like a shape. And I'm going to put that right down here, and I'm going to adjust the size of it so it's highlighting my demo credentials, right? And I'm just using my, what is this called? My trackpad to zoom in on these things, right? All right. Now, if we have it selected in the timeline, we come up here. This is where we can change some of the parameters of it. The yellow color does not stand out very well, so we can make it any color we want. I don't know. Let's see what blue looks like. And maybe the thickness. Let's see what that looks like. Let me zoom back out to fit. And let's just play this here. Your name and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. It animated in. And then you'll see here it fades out. There's a little fade exit thing here. We'll be doing some fade transitions here in a little bit, but it fades out. So nice little annotation there. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the Resources Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer database. Okay, so I have some ideas for how I want to do this. I want to use this type of annotation once more, the little drawing annotation. So on this little segment, we're giving a little bit of like a tutorial or like a navigation of what you're seeing here. We say, oh, here's your KPIs across the top. Here's your most recent customers. Here's your dashboard over here. Well, we can use these annotations, a sketch annotation, to highlight these things, but we're going to use one and highlight 3 different things without it ever leaving the screen. This is where things get really cool in Camtasia. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this one that I already have. So I'm going to copy it, put my playhead down here, and I'll do a Control-V to paste it. And there it is on the screen, right? So let's listen to the audio where we want it to start. Again, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPI. So right about here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top here. So let's move our annotation, our sketch annotation over here. I'm gonna put that all the way here. That's gonna highlight this, right? I like that. And let's play, and I'm going to extend this on the timeline too, because I don't want it to leave yet. So let's play that. Snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. So when it says along with a list of your recently added customers, right? I could do a whole separate annotation for that, but instead I want to animate this annotation down here and highlight all of that. This is where we get into animations in Camtasia. Now, animations and behaviors are similar because they both create movement, right? We did behaviors earlier where we made the text animate in. That's one type of animation. But animations are animations in Camtasia. They're called animations. And the best way to describe animations is it animates the difference between one set of parameters of an object to a separate set of parameters of an object. I don't even know if that makes any sense. If you've ever done video editing, they're like keyframes, all right? It's easier for me to show it than to try and explain it. Once you understand it, you'll uncover all sorts of use cases for animations. Now, there's a lot of different animations. They all work the same way. I always just do the custom animation. I'll also use the restore animation. I'll explain that here in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a custom animation. And what I want to do is I'm going to use a custom animation to make this annotation, the blue line, move to the bottom and get bigger to highlight all of the recent customers. Watch me as I do this. I'm going to click here, drag the animation here to the screen, and it looks like an arrow, right? And what it's going to do is it's going to simply animate the difference between whatever this object looks like here versus on the other side of it. And then we can make it longer or shorter to change how long that animation takes. So let's see, I'm gonna move this over here just so we can see where we want it to stop and start. So let me play this one more time. Sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. Okay, along with a list of your recently added customers. That starts right about here. So I'm gonna put the start of this animation right there. And we're gonna have it animate for that long, however long that is. Now, with my playhead down here on the other side of that arrow, you notice how it's red. Anything I change with this annotation, it's going to animate the difference there. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to make this longer, like that, bring this down here, because I don't want to change where it's left or right. I just want it to move down, right? Now watch what happens when I play it from here to here. KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database. Okay. That worked pretty good. See how it does that? It just moves it like that. Isn't that amazing? If you're familiar with the morph transition in PowerPoint, it's kind of like that, right? It allows you to change the difference between things. Now, if we right click on this, there's a couple of options. Animation easing. I always make sure 99% of the time it's exponentially in or out. If it's none, you'll see what it looks like. I'm gonna do no easing, along with a list of your recently added customers. It's fine, it just looks really choppy. The easing kind of just eases in the speed of it, eases in and out the speed of it. So I'll do animation easing exponentially in and out. List of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where, and then along the sidebar here, we're going to do the same thing. Do another custom animation here. And along the sidebar here is where you, okay, I'm just adjusting where I want it to happen here. So let's now that I'm on the right-hand side of my arrow, because now I'm changing what's going to animate to, I'm going to move this over here. I don't want it to go right to the edge. It's going to snap there. So let me zoom in here really close so I can have control over it here. Close that animations tab. Oops. Sometimes you got to zoom in really far to prevent that snapping. Zoom back out, get the right-hand side of this thing, and then zoom in. Like that, I like that. And let's bring this down here, right? Okay. So let's play that and see how that looks from over here. Of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer. Now, I'll show you one other thing you can do here. It looks fine as is, right? This blue. But let's say this blue of the outline was a little too similar to this dark blue. We could actually also change the color of it and it'll animate the color change, right? So let's say instead of blue, we wanted to change it to this purple color here, right? Let's see how that looks. I'm going to use my eyedropper here. Let's sample that little purple color here. And let's see what that looks like. Watch what it does now. I'm going to play it again from over here. Sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the Resources Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer hub. Okay, so right about here, this little break in the audio, that's where we want that to animate out. So I'm going to drag that down here. And now, Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer database. To do that, I'll click the Customers tab here on the sidebar. From here, you can see a complete list of all of your customers, or you can search and filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. Okay, so here's another instance where an annotation would be really helpful. So I'm just going to use the same annotation. I'm all about consistency because when you're creating something like this, you're training your user, your learner, what to look for, right? So if I were to all of a sudden use a different type of annotation, it might throw them off, right? So I'm just going to paste that one in here. I don't need these animations, so I'm going to delete those. Let's play this. You can see a complete list of all of your customers, or you can search. We're going to do that right here. We'll have that animate out right about there, but let's play that. And filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. To view a customer. Make that a little bit longer. Let's play that one more time. Customers, or you can search and filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the view option. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the New Customer option here on the sidebar. I'm just playing it to see where I want to add an annotation. So let's hit save real quickly. So let's go back here and play this. Simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the View option. This will bring you to the... Okay, so this might be a good instance where maybe we want to zoom in on the ellipses button, right? Where we click the View option and then we can zoom back out and we're back over here, right? And then we can see Sarah Johnson's profile here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that same animation effect, but on my actual screen recording here. This is where we can zoom in. This can also be helpful to direct the learner's attention where maybe an annotation isn't the most ideal, right? So I'm going to add a custom animation here to my actual screen here. Let's play this here. Any customer and click the View option. We say ellipses, so let's simply click the ellipses. Right where we say ellipses, that's where we want to do that. So these button to the right of any customer. So now I have my animation here. I'm to the right of the arrow. Now I'm going to zoom in here. There's a couple different ways I can do this. I can, from the properties panel, come up here and scale it up. That's one option. That's what I use a lot. Or I can click and drag here. In this case, I'm just going to scale it up, right? And I'm going to drag it here to where we want to see it, right about here, right? So let's see what that looks like here. The ellipses button to the right of any customer. So zooms in. Let's make this fit here so we can see everything. Simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the View option. All right, so right when we click that View option, we want to animate out, zoom back out. And this is where I oftentimes use the restore. Restore just does the opposite of whatever the animation was that you just did, right? So I'm going to put restore right here at the end. I'm going to shorten it a little bit here. Let's play that here. The ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the View option. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. Okay, so this is another good instance where we're going to use some of our annotations here. So I'm going to copy this. Let's figure out where we want that to happen. Bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information. Right here, where you can see their contact information. So we're going to go ahead and highlight that here. Just adjusting where that's going to be. So it's going to animate like this. See their contact information and other important details to the right. Okay, other important details to the right. We're going to do another custom animation here. I'll put that right about there. And other important details to the right. Yep. Okay, so now I'm to the right of my animation arrow on my timeline. So I'm going to put this all the way over here. Bring that over here. Put that down there. Let's see how that animates. Other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. Any notes? So I'll put that right about here. To the customer profile here. And that's... seems like a good time for that to be there. So I'll go ahead and bring that over here to highlight our notes panel just like that. Let's play that here. To the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click. And I think we want that to animate out a little bit here earlier. Added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the New Customer option here on the sidebar. From here, you can enter the customer's name, email, phone number, and other information. And as you enter in the information, you can use the Tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. All right, so we're going to add another little embellishment. Let me hit save that I like to use when I'm creating videos like this. Keystroke annotations, right? So I mentioned in the audio, we can use the Tab key, right, to switch between text entry fields. So I'm going to go to annotations here, and this last one I'm going to show here are the keystrokes, right? This will show different keystrokes on the screen that I want the user to pay attention to, right? There's different styles. It doesn't matter which one you use. I like, let's go with, I don't care. Let's do this one, right? Throw that here on the screen. Let's see what that looks like. Enter in the information. You can use the tab key on your, right? So we'll go and click on this. What color is it? Gray. There's traditional. There's outline. Black. I like the, is there clear? Let's make that a little bit bigger here. Yeah, I like that. We're gonna put that down here in the corner here. And we can change the key. If I click on this, I'm gonna type tab, and there it puts in the tab key, right? It gives a little icon for it. As you enter in the information, you can use the tab. So I say tab key, I'm gonna put that right here. Use the tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. All right, so this is another instance where I don't want it to just appear. I'd like to animate it. I'm gonna use behaviors again for that. So I'm gonna go to my behaviors tab here. And in this instance, I think the one that I'm going to use is, let's do fly in. No, let's do fly in. Okay, I'll drag that here. Again, we have end, during, out. So end, we want it to fly in. Linear, let's see what that looks like. I might change it. The tab key on your oh no, we don't want that. That's too dramatic. Let's do sliding. We'll do sliding, and that's gonna come in from the bottom. Let's see what that looks like. Use the tab key on your keyboard like that to easily navigate between entry fields. And then we want it to slide out, right? We're gonna have it sliding. We're gonna have it slide to the bottom, right? Let's see what that looks like. The tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. Love that. Now this is where it's sped up a little bit. That's good. Once you're done, click the Save Customer button at the bottom of the screen, and the new customer will be added to the database. So that's an overview of the WebSDS CRM. Once you're done, click the Logout button to end your session. All right. And then I think the final thing I'm going to add on this is a fade out, right? So if I go to my transitions here, there's a whole bunch of transitions. When I'm doing screen recordings like this, I rarely use transitions unless it's just a fade in, fade out, a clip. So I'm going to filter here and search for fade. And we're just going to do a simple fade here and drag that to the clip here. And that's going to fade out right about here. And it fades out, okay? So let me pause. Let's save. And we just did a really basic edit with all of this. Now, I could stop here. I feel pretty good about it. But there's two more things I want to show you, actually. I want to show you how you can blur out sensitive information. And then I want to show you how we can create a title screen. I'm going to show you some of the built-in title screens. And then we're going to create our own one from scratch, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So there might be instances where you create screen recordings where you need to hide sensitive information. Let's say, for example, I don't know. We're going to make it up. Let's say we need to hide the important dates here. There's nothing sensitive about important dates, but we're going to pretend there's something sensitive about important dates, right? So we're going to come here and we're going to blur out these important dates here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do annotations, and up here there's the option for blur and highlights. Now these are cool too. We can use like a highlight here if I wanted to, where I could highlight a certain part of the screen. Maybe I wanted that to highlight this part like this, and it darkens out everything else. That's really cool. In this case though, we're going to use a blur effect, which I think is this one. Sometimes they're hard to see. Let's see. Yes, there's the blur effect right here. So it's like a frosted piece of glass, right? I'm going to put that up here, and right here where we have the important information, I'm going to put that over the important dates here, right? We're going to pretend that that's sensitive info. Okay, so let's do this. Let me adjust when that happens. It's going to start here, and it comes on, and it really needs to stay here just about the whole time, right? Oops. It needs to stay here until we leave this screen. So right about there, right? So I'll drag this here. So let's hit play. This will bring you to... And we need that to come in a little bit earlier, don't we? And I actually have a little hack we're going to use here. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the new customer option here. So there's a couple things we need to fix here. First off, we don't want this blurred out here, but we do want to blur out the important dates here. And then you can see it's covering the cursor. We don't want that blurred out. And then you can also see it's covering up parts here where it blurs out part of this annotation. So first off, let's take care of the annotation. That's really, really easy. I'm just going to swap these tracks here. Yeah, that should just do it just fine, right? So yeah, now it's sitting on top, so it's not blurring out the line. That's fine. Now, as for the cursor, this is one of the great features that we can that Camtasia does. Is it actually like detaches the cursor from what we originally filmed here. So if I click on this clip here, I can come over here, and if I click on the cursor option up here, you'll notice elevation here. Default position, above media effects, and always on top. You see how I hover over always on top? It always puts the cursor on top of everything, right? Which is great. So now it's not going to get blurred out from the stuff behind it. And I need to do that on this clip as well. So let's do always on top. So now it's not affecting anything. So let's play this. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the new customer option here on the sidebar. Okay, that's good. Final thing we want to do is let's fix this. Now, this is where I'm going to show you how I would do this in the real world. So I'm looking for the exact frame where we need this to animate in, right there. Okay, and this is the blur, but obviously it's not blurring out the thing we need it to blur. So I'm going to put this up here, cover up the thing we need it to blur, like that, okay? And then it starts moving. Well, we're going to make the blur move with it, okay? So when it starts moving, where does it start moving? It starts moving right, oops, there. Okay, so we're going to add an animation, custom animation on this. And let's see if we can line everything here. And so by the time it's done there, that's when it's all animated back to where it needs to be. So we're going to put this here. Let's see if it works. This will bring you, yeah, so it's really quick. You can see it moving with that, so it works out really well. Let's move this from the edge so it's not doing that there. This will bring you to the customer details page where you can see their contact information and other important details. Okay, let's hit save. Final thing we're going to do, add a title screen, right? So, usually it's nice when you create a screen recording. It's not, you don't always have to do it, but sometimes it's nice to have a little title screen that tells the learner, the viewer, exactly what we're going to be seeing here on the screen here at the beginning, right? So if I come back here and put my play at the beginning, and we come up here to our media, Camtasia has a whole bunch of built-in assets that we can use. Some of them are premium and paid, a lot of them are free, and there's a lot of different options for titles. So for example, if I wanted to search a title, I can come in here and see all of our different titles. And there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different titles that we could choose from. Some of them are animated, some of them are really, really simple. If you double click on any one of them, you'll get a quick preview. So we could do like a lower third like this. If we wanted to, or, you can do more animated ones like this. So if I wanted to use let's say this one, I can just click and drag this here on my screen and it downloads it. And it's obviously sitting on top of my screen recording here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my items here. I'm going to move them down a little bit here. So I don't want it to be sitting there right on top. So let's do this. Let's see what that looks like. Now it's on black. In this video, we're going to, okay, maybe we want the video to start a little bit earlier than that. So we're going to bring this down here. In this video, okay, so watch what I do here. I'm gonna actually put the title up here, and behind this title, one of the things I'm going to use in my, where is it? Is it in the media library? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I found it. Under media and under library, we have all sorts of other built-in items. And one of the ones I'm going to use are the dynamic backgrounds. My apologies, it was hidden there in plain sight for me. And these allow us to create different gradients and animated gradients, which I kind of like because in the title screen of, or the home page of the Webistia page, we have this kind of animated gradient there. So I'm going to use a 4-quarter gradient as the background of my my little bumper here, title screen, right? It's not going to look like this, but it animates and we can put our title there, right? So before we do that, let's change these colors here on our gradient, our dynamic properties for our gradient. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to actually use the colors here, the blue and the purple, to change this, right? So we're going to go ahead and sample the blue color here, and then we're going to sample the purple color here, and then we're going to sample the purple color again, and then we're going to sample that blue color one more time, right? And I'm changing the properties of this gradient down here. Now it's not going to be sitting on yellow, don't worry, we're going to change that here, but let's play that here. See how it's sitting there on that blue-purple gradient? In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log in. Okay, but let's change this. So this is our title animator, or our bumper here. And so we can do our title here, tagline, and information here. So let's do navigating the Webistia CRM, and we're going to get rid of the subtitle there, and we're going to do Webistia as the subtitle here. All right, and we'll make this smaller. We're going to actually do 2 lines here, so I'll do a hard return there. There we go. What's great about a lot of these titles is that they're completely editable. They're just groups of items that you can edit however you want, right? So I've edited that to Webistia. Maybe I want to move this up here. I like this. There we go. And let's make this a little bit different. Actually, let's close the group. I think we can change the font directly in here. Yeah. We'll do outfit, bold, semi-bold, or bold. Let's do bold. And then for this, we will do outfit, regular. I like that. And then we'll make the lines white. And then, oh, let's make them actually white, not gray. And then for our text, we'll make that white. And we'll make that white here as well, right? And I can even, if I want to control this even further, I can come in here and adjust. That's not what I wanted to do. Adjust this spacing so it's a little bit closer, like that. Move it up. And it's all pre-made for me, right? So I'm going to play this. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log into and navigate the Webistia CRM dashboard, how to view a customer. Let's do a fade out. I'm going to do transition. There's my fade. We'll fade out this, and we'll fade out this. And let's see what that looks like. Let's watch the whole thing. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to log into and navigate the Webistia CRM dashboard, how to view a customer profile, and how to add a new customer. To begin, visit the Webistia CRM by navigating to webistia.com and logging in with your username and password. For this demo, we're going to log in using the demo credentials. Once you log in, this will bring you to the CRM dashboard. From here, you can see a quick snapshot of your sales KPIs across the top, along with a list of your recently added customers. And along the sidebar here is where you can see your full customer database, add new customers, access and create reports, and view the Resources Sales Supports Hub. Let's start by looking at the full customer database. To do that, I'll click the Customers tab here on the sidebar. From here, you can see a complete list of all of your customers, or you can search and filter for a specific customer with the search fields here. To view a customer profile, simply click the ellipses button to the right of any customer and click the View option. This will bring you to the Customer Details page where you can see their contact information and other important details to the right. And finally, you can see any notes that have been added to the customer profile here. To add a new customer, simply click the New Customer option here on the sidebar. From here, you can enter the customer's name, email, phone number, and other information. And as you enter in the information, you can use the Tab key on your keyboard to easily navigate between entry fields. Once you're done, click the Save Customer button at the bottom of the screen, and the new customer will be added to the database. So that's an overview of the WebSDA CRM. Once you're done, click the Logout button to end your session. All right. So that's how I would edit together a screen recording. It took a hot minute, right? But the output and the annotations we added and the edits we made makes it that much better of a video for our learners and for them to follow along with, right? Now, before we wrap up, how do we share our screen recording, right? So once you're done, if you come up here to the export option, there's a couple different exporting options, right? I can do export to local file and it exports it just as a video. I can put that on my desktop as a video, share that on YouTube, put that into a knowledge base, email it out, whatever, you can share it on YouTube. One of the amazing options, though, that's offered by TechSmith is also screencast. So if I select this option here, I can actually publish this as screencast. WebSDA CRM, how to navigate the WebSDA CRM and add new customers. There's a description, click share. And what that's going to do is that's going to publish it out and then literally upload it to the web and give me a shareable link that I can then share with anybody, right? So we'll give this a moment to do that. It's publishing out the video. All right. And now it's uploading. And before you know it, after it uploads here, we have a shareable link. I can copy this link, put it into an email, share it out, what have you. It's now hosted on the web. All right, so that's a quick look at some of the everyday features inside Camtasia that I use on a regular basis to help make my screen recordings and how-to videos as effective and instructionally sound as possible, right? And it really isn't that hard. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the video, the folks at TechSmith are sponsoring not just this video, but also our December 2025 eLearning Challenge inside our free community. It's 100% free to participate. So if you've been wanting to dive into Camtasia, learn a little bit about video production, add a new tool and skill to your tool belt, create a sample of work for your portfolio, and of course, enter to win a $100 Amazon gift card and a free year of Camtasia Pro, which is a $600 value, then sign up for a free trial of Camtasia and check out all of the challenge details with the links down in the description. Otherwise, as always, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and bell button to get alerted the next time I publish a video just like this one. And of course, join us inside the eLearning Designers Academy and our free community at elearningacademy.io. And that is where we help new instructional designers and eLearning developers grow their careers by focusing on skills first. Otherwise, my name is Sim Slade, and until next time, I'll see you around.